Next time you get sick, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect, because sickness is not just a physical state, it is a moment, a pause, a divine opportunity that Allah has placed in your life. Islam teaches us that sickness is not merely an inconvenience, it is a test, a mercy, and a means for purification. It is an opportunity for us to reconnect with Allah, to evaluate our habits, to nurture our hearts and souls, and to remind ourselves of the fragility and beauty of life. First and foremost, understand that sickness is part of life. Everyone gets sick. No one is exempt. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, experienced illness. He endured pain and hardship, and yet he used every moment of discomfort to draw closer to Allah, to reflect, and to seek healing both spiritually and physically. When you feel the discomfort of sickness, do not let it be a source of despair or frustration. Instead, let it be a reminder that your life is precious, your body is a trust from Allah, and that even in weakness there is strength to be found. The Islamic approach to sickness begins with intention. Yes, intention, because even illness, when approached with the right mindset, can be an act of worship. When you are sick, remember that Allah is aware of your suffering. You do not need to shout or plead with Him, He already knows. So, begin by reaffirming your intention. I will use this sickness to seek Allah's pleasure, to purify my soul, and to remember Him more than I usually do. This simple act transforms the experience. Your illness becomes not a burden, but a means of spiritual elevation. Next, turn to dua, to prayer, and to patience. In Islam, patience is not just about enduring, it is about actively embracing difficulty with faith. When you are sick, make it a habit to call upon Allah, to express your weakness, and to ask for strength and healing. Speak to Allah as a friend, as your Creator, the one who knows what is hidden in your heart. Express your fears, your discomforts, and your hopes. Let your sickness become a moment of intimate conversation with your Lord. Alongside patience, maintain gratitude. This might sound counterintuitive when your body aches, when your energy is low, and when the world feels distant, but gratitude during sickness is a powerful tool. Be grateful for the parts of your body that still function, for the people around you who care, for the medicines and treatments available, and for the time to reflect on your life. Gratitude in hardship elevates your heart and shifts your perspective. It is a form of worship, a reminder that even in pain, Allah's mercy is abundant. Islam also emphasizes seeking treatment. The Prophet encouraged the use of medicine, saying that for every disease there is a cure. So, the next time you are sick, do not neglect your health. Visit the doctor, follow the advice, and take the medicines prescribed. Treat your body as a trust from Allah, a trust you are responsible for protecting. This is the balance Islam teaches, reliance on Allah while taking practical steps to preserve your life and health. Rest is another key principle. Do not underestimate the power of rest. In a world that glorifies busyness, sickness forces you to slow down. Use this time to rest your body, to heal, and to nurture your soul. Sleep, eat well, hydrate, and give your body the space it needs to recover. Remember that rest is not laziness, it is an essential act of self-care sanctioned by Allah for your well-being. During sickness, reflect on your life. Illness often brings clarity. It reminds us of the temporary nature of our worldly life and the importance of preparing for the eternal. Ask yourself, have I been mindful of my prayers? Have I been patient in trials? Have I been kind to those around me? Use this time to repent, to make amends, and to renew your intentions. Let your sickness cleanse not just your body, but also your heart and soul. Charity, even while sick, is encouraged in Islam. Yes, even in your weakest moments, giving, whether through your wealth, your prayers, or your good intentions, elevates your soul. If you are physically unable to give charity, make dua for others. Send blessings upon the Prophet, pray for the sick, and make intentions for the betterment of those in need. These acts transform your suffering into a source of reward and mercy. Another practical step is maintaining a routine of dhikr, remembrance of Allah. Even small acts of remembrance, saying Subhan Allah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, can have profound effects on your heart and mind. They soothe the soul, reduce anxiety, and create a sense of peace in the midst of discomfort. Use this time to reconnect with your Creator, to fill your days with remembrance, and to purify your thoughts. Sickness is also a moment to strengthen family bonds and social ties. Reach out to loved ones, share your needs, and accept help with gratitude. Islam teaches us that supporting each other is part of faith. By allowing others to care for you, you not only ease your own burden, but also give them an opportunity to earn reward. Relationships are strengthened when hardship is met with patience, humility, and gratitude. Spiritual remedies are just as important as physical ones. Recite beneficial supplications, listen to the Quran if possible, and focus on the mercy of Allah. Even if your body feels weak, your spirit can remain strong. Islam teaches that no effort for Allah is wasted, even the silent prayers whispered in the heart while lying in bed. Every moment of awareness, every breath of patience, every act of reliance upon Allah becomes a source of reward. Do not forget moderation in habits. Sickness often highlights our excesses and negligence. Perhaps we neglected sleep, overworked our bodies, or indulged in unhealthy habits. Take this time to evaluate and correct. Islam promotes balance. Eat in moderation, sleep enough, exercise within your capacity, and maintain mental and spiritual well-being. Let sickness be a wake-up call to healthier living, a step towards a more mindful life. Suffering is temporary, but lessons from it are eternal. Remember, every hardship carries a hidden blessing. Illness teaches empathy, humility, and reliance upon Allah. It humbles the strongest among us and reminds the most confident of our ultimate dependence on the Creator. When you are sick, reflect on this deeper purpose. Ask yourself, how can this moment make me a better person? How can this moment bring me closer to Allah? Forgiveness is another aspect to embrace during illness. Use this time to forgive those who may have wronged you and seek forgiveness from those you may have hurt. Illness provides perspective. It reminds us of the importance of leaving behind a heart free from grudges. A peaceful heart accelerates recovery, and Islam places immense value on purifying the soul. Finally, surrender to Allah's plan. Islam teaches that everything happens by His decree, and nothing befalls us except by His wisdom. Do not despair if recovery is slow. Trust that Allah knows what is best for you. Surrender does not mean inactivity. It means doing your part, taking medicine, resting, and following guidance, while recognizing that ultimate control belongs to Allah. This balance of effort and trust is the essence of Islamic healing. So, the next time you get sick, do not see it as a mere inconvenience. See it as a divine opportunity. Begin with intention, practice patience, make dua, seek treatment, rest, reflect, give charity, engage in dhikr, strengthen relationships, evaluate your habits, embrace forgiveness, and surrender to Allah's plan. Each step is a means of spiritual elevation, a path to purification, and a bridge connecting your soul back to your Creator. Remember, sickness is temporary, but the lessons and rewards are everlasting. Every moment of discomfort can become a moment of growth. Every act of patience can become a source of forgiveness. Every prayer, every remembrance, every act of gratitude transforms weakness into strength, despair into hope, and pain into mercy. So when illness comes knocking, do not panic, do not complain endlessly. Instead, rise above it with faith, intention, and patience. Let it be a moment where your heart turns back to Allah, where your soul finds peace, and where your life is realigned with purpose and mindfulness. In doing this, sickness becomes not a curse, but a blessing, not a burden, but a bridge, not an end, but a beginning. And remember this, the body may weaken, but the soul can soar. The pain may be real, but the reward is immense. The test may be tough, but the outcome is a mercy from Allah, a chance to purify, a chance to grow, and a chance to come closer to the one who knows you better than you know yourself. Next time you get sick, take this Islamic approach. Make it your moment of reflection, of dhikr, of gratitude, of connection, and of trust. Because Islam teaches us that even in the hardest moments, even when we feel weakest, we are never far from Allah's mercy, guidance, and healing. Let this be your practice, your mindset, and your way. Transform sickness into worship, pain into purification, and weakness into strength. And know that Allah is with you in every moment, every breath, and every heartbeat. He sees your struggle, He knows your intention, and He will reward your patience beyond measure. Let this truth guide you, comfort you, and empower you, because true healing is not just physical. It is spiritual, emotional, and eternal. Illness is often seen as a burden, a moment of weakness, or a disruption in our daily lives. Yet, from an Islamic perspective, sickness carries a hidden blessing, a chance to pause and reflect, and an opportunity to strengthen the soul in ways that everyday life rarely allows. When we fall ill, it is natural to focus on the discomfort, the pain, or the limitations our body suddenly imposes. However, the Islamic understanding encourages us to shift our focus from what we lose physically to what we can gain spiritually. Illness becomes not just a challenge for the body, but a profound chance for the heart to grow closer to Allah. In those moments of vulnerability, when our strength feels diminished, we are reminded of our absolute dependence on our Creator, and it is precisely this awareness that opens the door to sincere worship, humility, and gratitude. Sickness can be a transformative experience if approached with mindfulness. When the body is weak and the energy is low, the soul has the chance to shine. Islam teaches that patience is not merely enduring suffering, but actively embracing it with faith, hope, and trust in Allah's plan. Each pang of discomfort, every sleepless night, and every restless hour becomes a vessel through which Allah can elevate our spiritual status. Instead of merely wishing the illness away, we can use that time to pause, to pray more deeply, to reflect on our lives, and to express gratitude for the countless blessings we often take for granted when we are healthy. Even the act of breathing through discomfort can become an act of worship if we turn our intention toward Allah, seeking His pleasure and mercy. During sickness, the heart has a unique opportunity to focus on dhikr, the remembrance of Allah. When the distractions of the outside world fade, when obligations and routines are paused, the soul can remember its Creator in a more profound way. Simple acts like silently praising Allah, making heartfelt supplications, or even reflecting on His mercy and wisdom become powerful ways to purify the heart. This remembrance strengthens resilience, nurtures inner peace, and allows us to approach our suffering not as an enemy, but as a means to grow closer to Allah. Illness becomes a school where patience, gratitude, and spiritual mindfulness are the lessons we are meant to absorb. Another beautiful aspect of experiencing sickness in Islam is the opportunity for reflection. When we are forced to slow down, the mind can revisit past actions, evaluate habits, and reconsider priorities. Questions naturally arise. Have I been mindful of my prayers? Have I sought forgiveness from Allah and from those I may have wronged? Have I allowed gratitude to shape my daily life, or have I neglected this vital practice? Illness provides clarity, a time for the soul to reassess the path it is walking and to realign with purpose, values, and spiritual goals. In these moments, the mundane concerns of life fade, and we can see more clearly what truly matters. Islam also teaches that every illness carries the potential for reward. When we endure suffering with patience, when we trust in Allah's wisdom, and when we maintain our connection to Him through prayer and reflection, the hardship itself becomes a source of spiritual elevation. Our weakness does not diminish our worth. In fact, it can magnify our sincerity and devotion. Each moment of discomfort is an opportunity to earn forgiveness, to purify past mistakes, and to draw nearer to Allah. This perspective transforms the experience of sickness from a purely negative event into a profound spiritual journey, one that strengthens the heart and enriches the soul in ways that health and comfort alone cannot achieve. Moreover, sickness teaches empathy and compassion. When we experience vulnerability, we gain a deeper understanding of the struggles faced by others. This heightened awareness can lead to more sincere acts of kindness, increased patience with those around us, and a more generous heart. Illness becomes a bridge that connects personal suffering to universal understanding, encouraging acts of charity, prayer for others, and a commitment to support those in need. Islam encourages turning personal challenges into opportunities for communal benefit, making every experience meaningful not just for the individual, but for the wider community. Even beyond reflection and empathy, illness reminds us of the temporal nature of life. When our bodies are limited, when energy is reduced, and when we confront our own fragility, we are reminded that life is temporary and that true success is measured not by worldly achievements, but by spiritual growth, devotion, and the state of our hearts. Sickness allows us to recalibrate our priorities, to focus on what is lasting and eternal, and to recognize that every moment is a chance to draw nearer to Allah. In practical terms, illness is also a time to practice gratitude in tangible ways. Gratitude can be as simple as appreciating the ability to rest, the presence of loved ones, or the opportunity to receive care. Even in the smallest actions, like taking medicine or nourishing the body gently, we can see Allah's provision and mercy. By turning ordinary acts into mindful worship, the experience of being sick becomes not a loss of time, but a gain in spiritual insight, reflection, and closeness to Allah. Ultimately, turning sickness into spiritual growth is about perspective and intention. The body may be weak, but the heart can be strong. The experience of illness can be transformed into a pathway of purification, resilience, and devotion. Islam encourages us to see these moments not with despair, but with hope, not as punishment, but as mercy, not as isolation, but as connection with Allah and with the people around us. By approaching sickness with patience, reflection, gratitude, and sincere worship, we allow it to become a profound opportunity for growth that touches every aspect of our lives, our hearts, our minds, and our souls. Reliance on Allah, or tawakkul, is one of the most profound principles in Islam, and it is especially relevant when facing illness. Many people misunderstand reliance on Allah as a passive state, as if it means doing nothing and waiting for divine intervention. But true Islamic reliance is not neglect. It is a dynamic balance between trust in Allah and proactive effort to care for oneself. When sickness strikes, it is natural to feel a sense of helplessness, yet Islam teaches that every action we take to preserve our health, alleviate pain, and pursue recovery is an act of responsibility and worship. True reliance is understanding that while ultimate control belongs to Allah, we are entrusted with the means to protect and heal ourselves, and that both effort and prayer work together as a complete approach. When we become ill, the first instinct may be to panic or despair, thinking that we are at the mercy of circumstance, but the Islamic perspective encourages patience, trust, and purposeful action. Seek medical care when needed, follow the advice of knowledgeable professionals, and use medicine wisely. These are not signs of weak faith, they are the embodiment of tawakkul. Allah has created means for healing and given humans the capacity to discover remedies. Utilizing these blessings is a form of gratitude and recognition of divine provision. By taking practical steps, we honor the trust that Allah has placed in us to preserve the gift of life. Alongside physical treatment, rest and self-care are vital. Islam does not glorify overwork or the neglect of the body. It teaches moderation and balance. When ill, slowing down, allowing the body to recover, and prioritizing rest are forms of obedience to Allah. Eating nutritious food, drinking enough water, and maintaining hygiene all contribute to healing, and each action becomes meaningful when performed with the intention of fulfilling our responsibilities as stewards of our bodies. When we care for ourselves in these ways, we are practicing a holistic form of worship, combining physical attention with spiritual mindfulness. Trust in Allah does not eliminate the need for effort. Rather, it transforms the way we approach challenges. When we rely on Allah while actively engaging in treatment, our hearts remain tranquil. Anxiety and despair decrease because we recognize that outcomes are ultimately determined by the Creator, not solely by our efforts or by the limitations of medicine. This balance nurtures resilience and prevents the mind from being consumed by fear, allowing the soul to remain calm, patient, and reflective during the healing process. Sickness also provides an opportunity to strengthen spiritual habits. While the body rests, the heart can engage more deeply in prayer, remembrance, and reflection. Each moment becomes a chance to renew intentions, seek forgiveness, and draw closer to Allah. Even small acts, such as quietly praising Allah or sending blessings upon the Prophet, become powerful tools to maintain hope and spiritual strength. This integration of faith with practical action illustrates that healing is not purely physical. It encompasses the body, mind, and spirit simultaneously. Gratitude plays a central role in this process. Even amidst discomfort, the act of acknowledging blessings, such as the presence of caregivers, the availability of medicine, and the capacity to seek treatment, cultivates a positive perspective. Gratitude fosters mental resilience, reduces stress, and opens the heart to spiritual insight. Islam teaches that recognizing Allah's mercy in all circumstances transforms ordinary experiences into moments of worship and reflection, and sickness is no exception. By appreciating what we have rather than focusing solely on what is missing, we align our hearts with trust and patience. Another essential aspect of balancing reliance on Allah and practical healing is avoiding extremes. Over-reliance on medicine without prayer can lead to spiritual negligence, while relying solely on faith without taking appropriate steps can compromise our well-being. Islam calls for a middle path where action and reliance coexist harmoniously. When we seek treatment, rest, and nourishment while turning to Allah in prayer and trust, we honor both the tangible and intangible blessings He has provided. Each step, whether physical or spiritual, becomes part of a larger framework of healing that is guided by faith. Family and community support also play a role in this balance. Islam encourages seeking help when needed and accepting care from others with humility and gratitude. Loved ones who assist in times of illness become partners in our journey of healing, and their support allows us to focus on recovery while strengthening bonds of compassion and love. This interconnection between reliance on Allah, personal effort, and communal support exemplifies the holistic approach that Islam promotes in managing hardship. Finally, surrendering to Allah's wisdom is crucial. Despite all efforts, outcomes may vary. Recovery may be swift for some, delayed for others, or, in rare cases, ultimate healing may not occur in this world. True reliance means acknowledging that Allah's knowledge is perfect, His wisdom is beyond human comprehension, and His plan encompasses both the seen and unseen. By combining trust with proactive effort, we cultivate a heart that is at peace regardless of the outcome. This peace is not passive resignation. It is an empowered state of faith that transforms vulnerability into strength, anxiety into patience, and weakness into spiritual growth. Balancing reliance on Allah with practical healing is not just a principle for moments of sickness, it is a lifelong approach to life's trials. It teaches that faith and action are inseparable, that trust is not emptiness but active engagement, and that every challenge, whether physical or emotional, can be met with a heart anchored in belief and a mind focused on doing what is possible. In this balance, illness becomes more than a challenge. It becomes a teaching moment, a purification of intention, and an opportunity to experience the harmony between divine trust and responsible effort. The next time you find yourself feeling weak, unwell, or uncertain, remember this balance. Take the steps needed for your physical healing, embrace the spiritual practices that nourish your soul, and anchor your heart in trust and patience. Recognize that every treatment, every moment of rest, and every act of gratitude is intertwined with reliance on Allah. By doing so, illness is transformed into a holistic experience of growth, resilience, and connection with the one who knows us better than we know ourselves. Healing becomes not just a return to physical health, but a journey of spiritual elevation, reflection, and strengthened faith.